Welcome to Cracking the Rich Code, the podcast. Hey, volume 17 is on the street now as of this recording, and that is turning out to be quite the volume in this series. There are so many fabulous authors in it. Now, there are throughout the entire series. We know that. Volume 17, though, I've had an opportunity to speak to several of the authors who are in this latest volume, and it's just their stories are so inspiring. And my guest today is no less inspiring than anyone. She has a remarkable story of transformation, and I can't wait for you to meet her. So let me bring her in right now and welcome Nina Buik. Nina, hello there. How are you this morning?
Hey, John, how are you? I'm doing well, thank you.
I'm doing terrific. If it were any better, I'd have to be twins to enjoy it.
Oh my goodness. I love it.
So, how excited are you that your book is finally on the street?
I couldn't be more excited. I am so excited, and friends and family, and they're all just very, very excited. And the restaurant that my story takes place in Chicago, Turquoise, is also I just love them, and they're so excited for me and for all of us and all of the authors in the book.
Oh wow! Well, let's talk a little bit about your story there and what you wrote about, especially when you wrote about the restaurant. And so let's share a little bit of that so that
Sure.
the watchers and viewers and watchers and viewers, yeah, the listeners and viewers of this podcast will have the opportunity to get a little preview and find out what this is all about.
So, Lunch with a Side of Transformation actually
I
takes
love that
place
title.
with a friend of mine that I met, would meet frequently at a restaurant called Turquoise in Chicago. And she comes to me, we meet for lunch, and has changed jobs. And she comes from being a very successful executive at her previous company to start going to work for a startup in the same role, and she just can't make it work. She's not connecting with her boss, she's not connecting with her team. And so I flipped my hat from friend to coach, and I became very curious about her new role, about why she felt that it she believed that her skills, everything that she was doing at one place, would immediately transfer to the new place. And through several meetings over lunch and a lot of curiosity, we came to the conclusion that the common denominator in all those relationships was her and how she viewed her role, how she viewed herself, and instead of looking at what the purpose was. And I asked her that. I asked her about purpose and what this new company, which is an AI company, what their purpose was. And she couldn't give me an answer. So everything unfolds from there. And I have to tell you, it ends well. It ends so well. And,
Well, that's good.
and we all know that when you're deeply curious, we all have the answers inside of us. But it really helps when someone else is deeply curious and pulls those answers out of you. And that's when the magic happened. And that's when she really understood what her true purpose was. And all of her relationships benefited from that decision. She she becomes vulnerable with her team, with her boss, with her new boss, and then he becomes vulnerable with her, and helps them form this purpose for the organization. And I come from a branding background, so having a purpose tied in with your brand, to me, when you look at some of the big brands like Apple, when you do you use Apple products?
I don't actually. I'm a
Okay, okay.
old-fashioned PC Android guy.
Okay, okay. So I asked one of my clients once, I said, why you said you love the brand Apple so much. Why do you love Apple? And she said, because all of my memories are on my phone. All of my photos, everything is on my phone. And I tie that into the brand. So feeling something, having that connection through a feeling. And that's what she developed. She developed that connection with the new company and the brand with a feeling and an outcome she was looking to achieve. So it all ended well.
Well, it's amazing. No matter what career field you're in, you develop a certain set of skills, and your skill set can be applied to any new company, any new environment. But you have to get into that mindset, and you have to get into understanding who they are and what they're about and what their brand is and what's their why, and then you can figure out how to apply your skills. I was a communication professional. I was public affairs, and I've worked in dozen different industries, but I had to learn that industry before I could properly represent it. And the same thing, I'm sure, has happened with your friend when she was trying to fit her skills into this new organization that she was working in.
Yeah, and what happened, the transformation that happened wasn't just at work. It really also helped her relationship with her husband
Yeah.
because she was no longer caught in that constraint of nothing's working in my life anymore,
Uh,
right? Nothing is working. None of my relationships are working. And so I was delighted and delighted that it happened at such a special place. Turquoise has a very special place in my heart. As I mentioned, my husband and I had a daughter that passed away in 2018, and the community in Roscoe Village in Chicago, um, they came together. They planted a tree in her honor. Um, they had a celebration at Turquoise. That was her favorite restaurant in Roscoe Village, and we would go there many times to have wonderful conversations. So, Turquoise means a lot to me.
wow, wow. And we hadn't talked about that during this episode. We pre-chatted a little bit about that, and such a tragedy, and you've really come through. You were able to take that uh, horrendous heartache and turn that into something that you offer to your clients, and that is a strength. It really is. And you talked a lot about vulnerability and being able to share those things. uh, when you started to mention vulnerability earlier, and it's so true. Everybody is always worried about being vulnerable and somebody taking advantage of their vulnerability, but vulnerability really allows us to connect with each other.
It's power. Vulnerability, people think it's a weakness, but it's not. It's not. It's owning who you are, and the outcome on the other side. I was just having a conversation with other coaches. The outcome on the other side may be that you're judged, but maybe that's not the space you need to be in, right? Maybe it's a truth that you needed to discover. But whatever it is, unless you live your truth, and that's one thing um, my daughter used to say all the time, Mom, you have to live your truth. And so we had that printed on a lot of things that we gave away. And she had two different remembrances. In her 22 years, she touched more lives than most of us touch in a lifetime. And
Wow.
so my goal after that and the transformation that occurred within me was to honor her life, her legacy, and to find joy and happiness in whatever time is left for me on this earth. And that's my joy, is helping others with their own personal transformations. Because life, it everything can change in a minute, John. Everything can change in a minute.
It sure can. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then we realize things about ourselves at that moment.
Oh, I learned a lot. It wasn't easy. I will tell you that grief is something I had never fully experienced the way I did. You certainly want the world to stop and you want to shout from the rooftops, everybody stop. World stop spinning, people stop moving. I lost one of the most precious human beings in my life, my angel, and I can't live. I really didn't see a path forward for myself. And it wasn't until I got a coach that I realized I needed to go through my own transformation. And the rest is history. And I can honor her life, I can honor her legacy, and know that every minute that passes is I can certainly celebrate those moments, but every minute going forward, I can also honor her legacy as well. So, time is an interesting thing. We can't get it back, but we certainly can make the most of every minute.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, let's honor her right now and remind the world of her name.
Thank you so much, Savannah Buick. And
I
she
love that. It's a
graduated from
beautiful
DePaul
name.
University, a mathematician, a rock climber, a lover of life and all life and people and animals, and she found joy in this world. And I love sharing this story, even though people think that it's there's a lot of heartache, and certainly there was, but there's a lot of hope and there's a lot of joy, and I want to share that part of her story most.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing, and I know that she passed away, doing what she loved, didn't she?
She certainly did. She was rock climbing up in Baraboo, Wisconsin, at Devil's Lake, and it was uh, a route she had climbed many, many times before. She was laughing and giggling and heard all around that area laughing and giggling moments before the accident occurred.
Oh,
So she left this earth. She did her final ascent, doing what she loved.
oh, wow. It's a beautiful story. And Savannah, we send our love and our hearts up to you.
Thank you, John. Thank you so much. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate you. I appreciate Jim coming into my sphere and bringing me into cracking the rich code world and meeting some incredible people. I'm just really honored and delighted, and I believe that happened for a reason as well. But going back to, you said something earlier about understanding the who and the why, understanding the why and the who,
Why?
right? And
Mhm.
in my case, in my chapter, my friend Barb was needing to understand that why, but there were a lot of who's involved, including her own, that she needed to understand. So taking that moment, who, what is your, who are you? Are you the
Yes.
person that does the same thing every day, and just wash, rinse, and repeat? Are you the person that takes a different path to, hey, I'm going to drive a different way to work today and maybe see something new? Maybe I'm going to find my transformation there. There's so much in this world that we can do, but you have to take a moment to explore that and explore yourself
Yeah.
by unlocking yourself from the shackles that keep you going, doing that same repetition every day.
Right. And understanding, why do we do these
Yes,
things?
why? Why? We don't have to. We don't have to. I love that. I could go so on and on with you about all of these things. There's so much to unpack and uncover, but I really urge your audience to read volume 17 because, um, uh, again, there's so much content and there's so much inspiration, so much motivation. I hope everyone gives it a read and
Yeah,
get your
yeah, and
highlighter
es
out.
especially your chapter in volume 17, Lunch with a Side of Transformation. I love it. I love it.
Thank
So,
you.
Nina, let me ask you, how did you get into the line of work that you're in right now as a coach?
Oh, again, it was accidentally on purpose. I was working at a big tech distributor. I've been working there for 10 years. I was struggling because I was struggling. Uh, had the handcuffs on, was doing the same thing every day, but struggling with my grief at the same time. And suddenly,
Oh, this is around that same time frame.
yes, yes.
Yeah, wow.
And the company had hired a coach, and I was basically her Sherpa in the company to help her navigate. And we just we started setting up calls once a week, and unbeknownst to me, I was being coached. And I I went from, "Hey, I'm gonna guide you around," to, "Oh my gosh, I'm crying every session," to, "Oh my gosh, I see the light and I have a choice and I have power and I can do all of these things that I want to do, and here's my purpose and here's my reason." And I became a coach and quit my job. and became a coach on my own. I started my company a little over a year ago, and now my mission is to get my message out and to work with as many people as I can and let them know there's power in choice and you can live the life you want. You can absolutely live the life you want to lead. And that is your wealth right there. Shh, that's cracking the rich code.
That's cracking the rich code. I love it. I love it. So we're speaking with Nina Buik, who is a coach and wrote in volume 17, a chapter called Lunch with a Side of Transformation. And she's just such an amazing bright light. And thank you so much, Nina, for joining us today. There's so much more. We still have some time, so with so much more that we can talk about. And I want to get into a little bit more about what you do as a coach for the types of people you work with, and what kind of people do you work with most often?
Yeah, thank you. I work with both men and women. Because I have been a woman in technology, I have a passion for helping other women who feel stuck. Especially in technology, there seems to be a point in their career where they get stuck, and we as women tend to be um, humble, stressed out doers and because we are needed. And it could be cultural reasons, it could be how we're conditioned as women to behave a certain way. And so, really helping women unpack that and decide, choose where they want to go. And if they want to go all the way, there's a path forward, and here's how to do it. And so, really helping them understand what they come, be honest and understand what they want to do and help them get there. Again, they've got the answers. I just want to unlock those answers for them and let them know that they can choose to do whatever they want to do in life. They have that power and that choice. So I do that. I do speaking engagements. I do individual coaching, group coaching, and I love doing all of it. I get great joy in helping others realize that they, right here, deep inside, they have all the answers. And when they realize they do, suddenly that's the power, right?
Isn't it? Yes.
I have the answers. I didn't know it.
That
And so,
transformation that
woo,
happens, that light that goes on in their eyes, and all of a sudden it's wow. I know.
and
That's
you
why we
see,
do what we do, right?
yes,
That's the reward. And I've
you're
said this, I don't know how many times, when somebody I'm working with, whether it's one person in a large group when I'm speaking, or just that one person as in a one-on-one, and all of a sudden that little light goes, or that little glisten happens in their eyes, and all of a sudden they come to a realization point. That's my reward. That's why I do it. Now, I have become accustomed to those minor luxuries of food and shelter, so I do have to charge for those services. But if I was independently wealthy, I would do it for free because that's my reward. Yeah.
I could not agree with you more. I have those feelings, right? But also there, when you charge for something too, the other person is invested more. I feel like even
That's
if
true.
you're talking a little, there's so much more invested in the process, and they're willing to do the work because there is work involved.
Oh, yes.
You really have to come clean and be vulnerable and be honest. But the beauty when you see that light and that pivot, and you can point it out to someone, you just changed. You just transformed right before my eyes, and I want to point that out to you.
Yeah.
That is a powerful
Yeah.
moment.
And
That
celebrate it. And
Yes,
celebrate it.
yes,
Absolutely.
yes, absolutely.
Now, information about you is on your website, Global FM 22. I think I know what the 22 stands for, but could you tell us what Global FM 22 means?
Well, I had to put a global in there because FM22 was a URL that was already taken. But FM stands for, well, it doesn't stand, it's not frequency modulator like a radio. Uh, it stands for
You know how
forward.
many people don't even know what FM that stood for?
You're probably right. That's old school for sure. It stands for forward motion, and that's what I hope to help put people and businesses into forward motion. through positive psychology, through coaching, through whatever it is, through speaking engagements, whatever I can do, whatever I can offer. That is truly the wealth that I've gained from my experiences over the past couple of years.
And for those of you who are only listening and not watching, because we put it on the screen here, our website is www.globalfm22.com. And that's the numbers 22, globalfm22.com. I want to make sure that we get that out there because so many forget that some people only listen to this thing, and we're always doing things visually. We're looking at each other on this video version, and I put things on
We're
the
smiling
screen.
bigly.
Yeah, smiling bigly. I love that. That's a new word I'm going to use often now.
I love it. I love it, and I love your energy, and I'm just I can't tell you how much I appreciate you bringing me on your show to share what it is that I do, and hopefully, who knows, there could be another volume. You might find me in your book as well. I don't know. We'll
Oh, well, yeah, we'll be talking about that too. Yes, absolutely. And so, Nina, there are some opportunities that just happen in the world. We wind up coming together and we would never have crossed had it not been for Jim Britt with this series. He's reached out to so many of us and invited us into this series. And when we were invited in and we decided to say yes, it really opened up new doors. And I have met so many wonderful people through this channel. And then when he asked me to host the podcast, there was no doubt in my mind that would give me the opportunity to get to know people even more than just when we get together on masterminds and things like that, and just reading their chapter in the book. I get to know who they are and get to go behind the scenes, and all of a sudden we find each other's vulnerabilities, we connect, we learn to trust and appreciate each other, and that's what makes the world go round.
Absolutely, and it is it's somewhat magical in a way when you think about it, because when we put this kind of good energy out there, it's amazing what it is that we begin to attract in our sphere. And and truthfully, when you discover your who and you start acting on your who, you'll
Yeah,
see that magic happen. You'll start to attract that energy. It's a real thing. Uh,
yeah.
there's scientists out there today that we emit. Most people don't know this, but we emit enough energy today to light up a light bulb. Now, when we're really excited, when you say, "Oh, so and so entered the room," they lit up the room. There's truth to that. They put out so much. Some people put out so much energy. Scientists are looking at ways to harness the energy that we produce to charge cell phones. I mean, that's how much energy we have the capability to produce. Now, imagine when we're doing this to really create a difference in the world. When we're putting out that force into the world, what we're going to attract. That's so powerful.
That is so powerful. And we all have that inner energy, right? That fire that burns inside of us. And we just have to reach inside and pull that fire out sometime.
Ooh, look at that, what you just did. You just created a big force of light around you. That was amazing. I don't know if you did that intentionally, but when you lifted your hand, this light came across your face. That was incredible.
And that's
That's
what
it.
we have. We all have that light, and then we just learn how to share that light with other people.
That's amazing. Amazing.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I did a little cheesy dad magic, folks.
I love it. I love it.
But that's also why I called my company Share Your Fire,
Yeah.
because we do have that inner light within us. And that's why, but the symbol for my company is a torch, because and it's not the fire of the torch, it's the light that we bring to others. And Nina, you are a source of light. You truly are.
Thank you, John. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And we're now, fully connected, and I have a feeling for quite some time.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, if people want to get in touch with you, obviously, we already mentioned your website is globalfm22.com, but probably LinkedIn is a good place to reach you.
Absolutely. Reach me on LinkedIn. Would love to connect, even if it's just to say hello. I'm all about that. So please feel free to connect with me. And if you'd like to have a chat, I you can connect with me that way, and we can set up some time to get to know one another. And just delighted, absolutely delighted. I feel so much energy from you, John. It's like I'm like a Hot Wheel, like I've been revved up and ready to go.
I love it. I love it. And on LinkedIn, it is Nina Buik, Ninabuik.
Yes,
Just
no
look her up
C.
on LinkedIn. No C, not like the car. She's better than the car.
Well, my nickname at where I used to work was Bentley because they said you're better than a Buick. We're going to call you
I
Bentley
love
for
it.
short.
Hey, Bentley's a good thing.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I was like,
Look at how
yeah,
classy it is, right? That's
exactly.
exactly what they said. They said you were beautiful and classy.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
I love it. Nina, thank you so much for joining us. And I want to encourage everyone, grab that Cracking the Rich Code Volume 17. There are so many wonderful authors in in that particular volume. Always there are, I mean, and I say this all the time, there are fabulous authors throughout all the volumes, and including me. And I'm not in 17. So, but get 17 because you want to read Nina's story.
Thank you. Thank you for listening, everyone. Look forward to connecting with you.
This has been a wonderful conversation. Thank you again so much, Nina. And everyone, thank you for listening to Cracking the Rich Code, the podcast. I hope you enjoy these conversations as much as I do. And stay tuned for the next episode. Take care, and we will see you next time.